everyone in the YouTube world, it's the Spirit 152. Okay, so last week while I was in New York, I got to meet James Spader from the Blacklist, and I thought I'd share this experience because, I know, people probably wonder what he's like in real life, and so this is that video. Okay, so I remember it was this past Thursday. I decided to stake out the set of the Blacklist. There's a website called onlocationvacations.com. That's where I found out where they'd be filming. And I remember, this was around 1:30. I remember I was sitting on a bench by the set, and Megan Boone and James Spader were walking past, and I actually had to choose between the two of them, and so I chose James Spader. And I remember when I met him, I was like, "Hi, Mr. Spader, how are you doing today?" And he's like, "I'm fine. And yourself?" "I'm good." And then I asked him this. I said, "Are you kind enough to let me have your autograph?" And he was like, "Sure." And so I stood up. So I pulled out this mini composition book and a Sharpie, and I stood up and I handed it to him. And I remember at one point I became very, very nervous. And I remember he asked me how I spelled asked me what my name was, how it was spelled, and I will be honest with you, he's actually quite meticulous about name spelling because I guess it's because he wants to be sure that he gets it right. So there's that, and I remember I also asked, I was like, "Mr. Spader, can I get a picture with you? My mom wants to see that I met you," because my mom, she loves James Spader. She loves Mr. Spader. And he's like, "Sure." Why? And he was like, "Sure." And I actually made the mistake of turning my phone off before this was a few minutes before he came out. I just turned my phone off, and I literally made that mistake. And I remember I went to turn it on, and I remember this was when I really got nervous, okay? Because I was like, "Oh my God, come on, please turn on." I was literally, I was nervous because not only did I make the mistake of turning my phone off, I was making Mr. Spader and the production assistant who was escorting him, I was making them wait. And I will be honest with you, Mr. Spader I actually found him to be really intimidating. And I remember I'm just like, "Oh my God, please turn on." And when it finally turned on, I'm like, "There we go." And so I took a selfie with him. And then after the selfie, I told him, I said, "Mr. Spader, my parents and I had a Pomeranian. And I told him about how we named him after his character." And I remember pulling up a picture of Red the Pomeranian, and I said, "That's Reddington. He passed away last month." And then I said to him, after he died, I promised him that if I ever met you, I would tell you about him. And I cannot begin to tell you how many times I messed up "I would tell you about him" before I could even say it properly, because I was that nervous. Literally, I was shaking. When I went to take the selfie, my hand was shaking, and I'm like, "Okay, I gotta get my hands still long enough to get the picture." But yeah, and then I told him about it, and here's the thing, I went to hug him. See, he's not a hug kind of guy, but he is a handshake kind of guy. And that was fine, he is who he is. And, and it was really cool. And I remember the second time I met him, I actually spoke to him twice that day. Second time he was outside his trailer, and I was even more anxious. And I was like, "Mr. Spader, I'm sorry to bother you again. I didn't ask for this earlier because I didn't want to keep you waiting. My mother is a huge fan of yours." And I told him, I was like, I was wondering if I could get an autograph from my mom as well. She really and I told Mr. Spader about how she was a fan and, all that stuff. And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And so I handed him my book and my pen, and I told him how to spell her name, Like I said, because because, like, this is what I discovered. He's very meticulous about name spelling. Which I think is great, because, I mean, at least he's taking the time. At least he's taking the time to be sure that he spells your name correctly. And, no, but he was literally so cool. Like, I was not expecting Mr. Spader to be that nice. Like, he was literally so cool. Like, I literally was not expecting that at all. I thought he was gonna be like standoffish and he wouldn't sign an autograph or even talk to or even notice me. But he was so nice. But like I said, I did find him intimidating, but he was really cool. He was a really nice guy, and I thought it was cool that it was really cool to see him dressed as Reddington in person and not just on TV. I mean, but for those of you who decide that they want to stake out the set of The Blacklist and you want to meet James Spader, from my personal experience, he's really nice. Although like I said, I found him a bit intimidating, but he was a lot nicer than I thought he'd be. I did notice that when I met him, he had like a tinge of he had like a small amount of Reddington. But I thought that was I thought that was really cool that Reddington bled out into real life, and overall he was really cool. So, but yeah, like I said, if any of you end up in New York and you decide to want to stake out The Blacklist and try to meet James Spader, yeah, just he's really nice. I mean, if he has time to stop, he'll most likely stop to talk to you like he did with me. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. So, yeah, the Spirit Room 152 signing off. Alright, bye guys!